Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in a replay. This is the Vault, episode 540. Uh, Blessings by Association Review. Appreciate everybody for listening. If you hear any sniffling, definitely, there's just been a transition in weather, so you all know that there's just been transition, but we're 100% healthy and everything's working well. It's just definitely don't want to ruin the sound quality, and I just want to let you know there may be a sniffle every now and then, just for purposes of the weather and some. It's actually drainage. You get a little bit of drainage every year. You're draining things. You're healthy. It's just things. As they grow, they have to release the old. So, we want to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is the Vault, episode 540. Blessings by Association review, and this is episode to really go over what we got out of a event that we were at recently, dealing with high net worth investors, and got a chance to run into some other trustees and meet some other people that have listened to the podcast. So it's really beautiful. We're going to do our best to keep this short and sweet or concise to the point. But this episode is to at least give you all the review, the notes on a particular episode, and go forward from there. So overall, it was just a great event, 3 day event. Event cost $2,500. People always ask, how much does a ticket cost? We sat in a room with people. We know people that private association, their membership cost over 8 grand a year annually. So when you all are looking at costs for associations and memberships, we're here to share with you, what's going on, so you all can be prepared, so you can know how much it costs to be in a space. This is one of the better family trustee workshops. So if you see the price range is pretty much standard across the board for the organization. They've been around for 10 years plus. In turn, they're charging. So just to kind of go through some of the notes that we took, it was a 3 day event. Got a chance to have happy hour network with people as well. So a lot of good things. A lot of good things we're talking about. Sat in a room with billionaire asset managers. Sat in a room with many people. So definitely appreciate New York for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate New York for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate that. Excuse us. Ooh, change of the weather is real, but we're always healthy. So one of the things we really wanted to share out of the workshop, or the event, was that when you get around a lot of other wealthy people, a lot of times you hear different various mindsets. So one of them was really focused on, and we're just sharing thought process throughout the entire event. Uh, a lot of times people want to pass on this money, they want to pass on generational wealth, but then you also hear people say, and this is not in a high net worth investor environment, you hear this from lower level environments. You hear lower level environments say, oh, I'm not going to have my children go through what I went through, or put them through the same struggles, trials, and tribulations. And in all actuality, from sitting in a room with a lot of other high net worth investors, families that have actually had to do it on their own, actually are more focused on passing along values of work, values of diligence, values of teamwork, values of pride, things of that nature. So when we talk about values being passed along, that's what it seemed as though what was top priority when it comes to passing along things from one generation to the next is not necessarily money. So when we sit in a room with our trustees and we say, hey, what are you looking to pass along? And they say just finance or just property, we definitely encourage them to think about passing along values. What values do they want to instill? And that's where you get into the trust, you get into the mission statement. What is the mission statement of the charity? What is the mission statement? How do you distill and get down to expressing those values? And so that goes into our next point, which is being intentional. There was so many people there. How do you get the most out of connecting with people in the world when there's 8 billion people plus in the world? How do you get out of life the results that you want? And one of the things that we really got was that you just want to be as intentional as possible and honing down on being in as much as being as intentional as you possibly can be. How focused, how specific can you be on what is that you're looking at, and really just evaluating your mental model. That was something that we really got a chance to see that there's a lot of things that can go on around you. A lot of things can go on, but what is your mental model? What is your mental model based on? Is it based on your parents? Is it based on your school teachers? Is it based on your social environment? Remember, that's your mental model. That is how you're going to express your views, is through that mental model. So it's very interesting to see and be able to engage with people when it comes to finding out what their mental model is. And so was can just keep continuously going through thought process that we sat in a room and notes that we took specifically, so you can hear what we're taking now was capturing our interest. You think about that, how were you brought up? What was your mental model like? Uh, One of the things that was said was average is death. And this is a tough pill for people to swallow because people don't want to be average, or some people are okay with being average. But the people that don't want to be average, they understand that average is death. And how do you get around being average? You have to do more. You have to study more. You have to work harder than most people. And so your life is going to look different. And so, very important to kind of assess that. This one was great too. Howard Marks is a very successful business person at a time, and the most valuable thing, focusing on the most valuable thing, is very, very important. Uh, some of the industries that are going to be growing over the next few years, and just in general over 2024, what you're seeing big investors look for, institutional investors, they have over 10 million, $100 million. Plus, they're looking for educational technology, green technologies. These businesses definitely should show a clear path to profit. And so, as an entrepreneur, there is no guarantee on your business plan, but a clear path to profit means you're very clear on how you're going to get their investors their money back. There's a ton of money around right now. There's definitely a thirst for needs. Excuse me, a thirst for deals. A high level of thirst for deals right now. Uh, you get in once again. You're in a high net worth investor environment. Oh man, you want to know, is it about the money? Is it about the money? And then you hear people go across and speak and speak and speak, and they tell you it's about your health. They tell you that your health is your wealth. So one of the questions I was asking, this is an exercise for you, the listener, and for your family and your team, is if you have all the money in the world that you want. We'll go ahead and say that. We use a hypothetical imaginary situation. So in turn, you have all the money you want. And somebody that you love, near and dear to you, their health just changed. And the example that was given, the question that was given is, how would your life change if their health changed? How would your schedule change? How would your mentality change if someone that you love very, very dear to you changed and you had all the money in the world? What would you do financially? How much would you pay for them to have perfect health or go back to health? Or even if you lost them? So it was a lot of great questions that were asked that really got you thinking about, what am I doing? How am I doing it? One of the things that we saw that a lot of the investors sitting in the room, they're thirsting for and asking for is, tell us your story. Tell us your core values. Blessings by association, excuse us, it allows you to receive those blessings by association because you share similar values. You can empathize with someone's story. One of the things that we took a note on is, do you have a service mentality? Oh, big deal when you're dealing with the vault. Big deal when you're dealing with a lot of great businesses. They have a service mentality. One of the trends right now that is big in the internet model is buy now, pay later, and that's going to continue to grow. Interestingly enough, is the buy now, pay later mentality. Excuse us. Just doing a little bit of drainage here, so it's not bad when you're detoxing. You're draining. So if you want to know, should you detox? Yes, it's great for draining. Um, Make it a point to get better every single day. This was something that you see across, you know, uh, with high net worth investors. It's a tough pill to swallow when you're not getting better every day. It's a tough pill to swallow when you're not associating with people that are wanting to get better every single day. And when you look at that thought process that people are looking to get better every single day, very, very important to keep you on your toes and allow you to, keep working. A lot of good notes that we took. We have no problem with sharing our notes. Probably won't share every single note, but we definitely are excited about sharing notes. And this is the note that we took for sure. Is when you're thinking about working with a potential investor, you want to make sure that you are able to answer the question, how long are we going to wait to get our money? And what is the expectation? When you're working with investors, when you're working with other people, you have expectations that are going to be created. So how do you manage the expectations? How do you truly manage expectations? Do you communicate those expectations through email, through text, through phone call? How do you communicate those texts? How do you communicate those expectations? One of the lines that we got, something that we created sitting there was when you're dealing with investors, sometimes it's one of those things like, oh man, they didn't invest with me right away. They don't love me. Oh man, they don't love me. Investors, they don't love me. My deal sucks, and it's not that, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that your deal sucks, and it's not that they don't love you. It's just timing. So when the time is not right, you can ask if it's okay to follow up and update them on the milestones when we hit them, and maybe we can follow up and share progress. And by you being able to do that, keeping that door open, it leaves the door possibilities open, not just the door open. So it was really beautiful to know that you can, develop your skill set for deals, even when you're selling your business. Say somebody doesn't want to buy it right then and there. You can always let them know, hey, look, as we move forward in preparing our business with our milestones, can we update you? Very, very important. Another was called a strategy was seeing one of the leaders establish and say, you want to establish brute force reciprocity. Brute force reciprocity is giving and giving and giving. We sit on the vault. We've been giving and giving and giving for years. We're not sweating the numbers. The numbers will come. The numbers are here. The numbers are in our heart. If you don't have the numbers inside you, how are you ever going to be able to give? How are you going to be able to give if you don't have anything? It's like the parable of the talents in the Bible. How are you going to give something you don't have? But when you have, you actually receive more. So when you give, you're never going to run out of abundance. But do you operate from that mentality? Do you operate from an abundant mentality? Oh man, if I keep giving, man, they taking something from me. If I keep giving, they just taking, they taking, they taking. Well, are you giving? Yeah, then they can't take what you don't give. They're taking what you give. But brute force reciprocity, it does say, hey, look, when they give, you give. Or when you give, they give. But it's reciprocity. And brute force means you're forcing it. You're making it a point to share with them incredible amounts of value. So many people say, oh man, I want to figure out how to present value. You just figure it out. One of the things that we practice, and one of the things that one of the individuals spoke about, which was basically basically coming out with your daily life sheet, your daily mission sheet, your daily goal sheet. And do you have your daily goals written on this sheet? Do you have your monthly goals written on this sheet? Do you have your yearly goals written on this sheet of paper? When you travel, one of the gentlemen that spoke about it said he has his laminated. Do you have it laminated? Oh man, this is the hardest thing to do. Trust Christian of all. We know it is. Why? Because we do it, and we know most people don't, and we're one of the few people that do it. Which is when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, you're reading over your goals, your monthly goals, your daily goals, your yearly goals. Making sure that you're aware of the liabilities, capital gains, ordinary gains, things like that. How are you aware of that? Do you talk to your accountants? Are you aware? How do you communicate with your accountants? Buying digital real estate is a big deal nowadays. No one's really talking about digital real estate still. It's a rare occasion that they talk about digital real estate, but digital real estate is definitely one of those things that has kind of been swept by the rug because it's remember, you got the physical world and then you have the web world. The web world has transitioned to this term called Web 2.0, Web 3.0. The web is becoming more real, quote unquote, through virtual reality, augmented reality, and so in turn the web is not just the internet. It's not Web 1.10. It's Web 2.0. And then we went from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. So just be very aware that digital real estate is very, very valuable. Has been, will be, and always will be. But for some odd reason, there's been a lack of communication. Even when people come to the vote and say, "Oh man, I need to copyright my name. I need to trademark my name." Yeah. Did you turn it into? Did you get your digital real estate for the name yet? Did you acquire the digital real estate yet for the name? One of the things that we got a chance to connect with, and one of the best relationships we were able to connect with, is former NFL football player. We got a chance. We'll actually do an interview with him on our channel here. We look forward to connecting you all with him because he does care about inspiration and sharing with you all what I'm going to talk about right now, which is accountability and responsibility. And those things were critical for this individual because they did make it to a high level of success in their life, and then they had some stumbling blocks, some things happen, quote unquote, mistakes happen, blah blah blah, lessons happen, and in turn they learned about accountability to self and responsibility to others and responsibility to their investors. And it's very very important when you're thinking about that because excuse me, this individual mentioned that they didn't have that. And it makes you question, well, do I have accountability to myself? Am I accountable? Do I want someone to hold me accountable? And am I responsible to others? Am I responsible to give answers? Am I responsible for expectations? We got some really good gems out of this workshop. This was this meeting that we had. It was a very very good thing. You get these blessings by associations. When you're able to talk to deal people that are investors and ask them, do they have they seen this deal yet? It's very very important. Being intentional. Today's gonna go my way. No one wants to hear that in the world. You know, oh man, I'm gonna be negative. It's easy to be negative, but when it comes to being, oh man, I gotta be intentional with my day. I have to say that the day's gonna go my way. I'm gonna project that the day's gonna go my way, and project that the day's gonna go your way, and perceive that the day's gonna go your way, and project it. And that's not easy, quote unquote. Why? Because if you're not programmed, then it's not easy. But when you start programming yourself, it's still challenging because you're overcoming a thought process. And so there we go. So blessings by association. We were sharing with you all the formal notes. We'll go through and kind of give you the back end. We got a chance to run into some trustees. We're really happy and thankful we were able to bless some people by being at this event with some trustees. We saw some trustees in the room that's hiding from y'all. So some of the trustees that came to the workshop, there were many trustees in the room that did you didn't even know they were trustees. And that's a fact. Whether it's the overall grand scheme or whether they've gone through the vault, baby. They've gone through the vault and they still sit in the room and they're not telling you. So when they talk about gatekeeping, people want to say, oh man, Trust Christian Vault, y'all gatekeeping or y'all keeping it quiet. Y'all not sharing with us the organizations and the rooms you're going into. Ladies and gentlemen, they're private events. They're private. These people do not want to be bothered. People say, oh man, generational wealth. I'm giving out financial literacy. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a $2,500 ticket to get billionaire financial institution information. What are we talking about? There's a barrier to entry. There's no free lunch. Oh man, I wanna get in that environment. I gotta spend 8 grand, 10 grand, 12 grand to network with other wealthy people. That's what's going on. Oh God, oh, that's how it looks. Oh God, I'm gonna network with other wealthy people. Yeah. So I gotta drop the bands. Like, oh, what about dressing the part? Well, if you don't dress the part, how are you gonna get the money? If you don't dress the part, oh no, I could come in here dressed the way I want to dress. Well, there is a uniform for business. So when brothers and sisters, men and women want to come in a room and not dress the part, now you know why. It's challenging to raise capital. Oh, it's challenging to raise capital for X, Y, and Z group. X, Y, and Z group. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting in a room where we see every color, every nationality getting funding. Does it matter if it's 100 million or a million or 2 billion? No, it doesn't. They're getting funding. Can you get the funding? Yes, but do you have a deal? We are going to do an episode. There's a difference between a great idea and a deal. You have to be okay with someone scrutinizing your deal. You have to be okay with someone asking about your deal. You have to be okay with someone literally critiquing your idea. Oh man, I got an idea. I want some money. If you want money, how about excuse us again. If you want money, do you are you willing to give up equity in your company? We're sitting in a room where we're in private equity. We're sitting in rooms with private equity. Oh man, I want somebody to give me money. They want equity in your company. You want to be in trust. They want a share of the trust. They want a share of the company. We're sitting in a room and oh man, how's somebody gonna fund this entity? How's somebody gonna work with me when you're in the right structures? No structure, no business. No structure, no business, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they come to the vault. That's why they enroll in the trustee training. No structure, no business. They have no structure. So they have no business. They have no trustee training because they have no structure. They have no training available to them because they don't need a structure. If they needed a structure, then they would have a business need. The need is that they need more structure. It's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, to be in these environments. You see cultures, people. We were sitting in a room. We're going to share this. We're going to share it. It don't matter. First of all, if you are in the 1%, if you're in the 1% rooms, why would you not connect with each other? If you are of the same ethnicity and culture. Oh man, I don't want it to look a certain way. What does it look like? That the people of the same culture are connecting? The people of the same culture are connected? Or are you divided? Are you divided and conquered? Or are you working together and conquering? So this is the issue, interesting issue when you sit in a room is, oh man, do you have perceptions that you're powerful? Do you have perceptions that you bring value? Blessings by association, it's almost like you get blessed just by being around. People say, oh, it should be more of this and more of that. Ladies and gentlemen, wealthy people are not begging for you to come in the room. I promise you that. They're not begging for you to come in the room. They're not begging for you to give them a deal because this is the difference when you walk into a wealthy room. Wealthy people are focused on not losing the money, not getting it. Wealthy people are focused on not losing the money, not getting it. Or excuses, let's make sure we word it right. They're focused on not losing the money, not getting it. They're not worried about getting it, ladies and gentlemen. When you talk about wealthy people, the focus is how do we hold on to this money from generation to generation? And that's where the vault comes in because we deal with trustee training. We're working with the successors. We're working with second gen, third gen, fourth gen. We're working with those. We also work with a lot of first gens. We look forward to hearing from you, Christian at trustchristian.com. We look forward to hearing from you, Christian at trustchristian.com. Blessings come by association. We have people listen to the podcast. They reached out to the podcast. We saw them at the workshop. Why? Because this is what happens. You get around other successful people. And in turn, you build that credibility. In turn, you build up that trust. In turn, you get blessings by association. And so it is. We look forward to hearing from you. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. We're going to do another episode, a few more episodes. Look out for those. Blessings by association review was definitely one. Just hit the like, hit the subscribe, please. Definitely, we appreciate that. We definitely just want to say thank you for listening because this was one of those episodes where we just do our best to give like notes on what it is, some of the things that we encounter as trustees sitting around other successful trustees and otherwise many different notes. So look forward to hearing from you. Reaching out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace